Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake, and what we're going to make is a cherry upside down cake, and we're going to make it in a 10-inch skillet. And what you'll want to do is, I started this a little ahead of time so the video wouldn't go too long. Take a half a cup of butter and melt it in your 10-inch skillet. Once you do that, take 1 tablespoon of butter in reserve and put it in another little container, okay? So again, a half a cup of butter melted in your 10-inch skillet. Take out a tablespoon of butter and then melted butter, let it sit aside. The next thing is take a cup of brown sugar and then just mix it in with the butter till it's all dissolved and well combined, okay? And then just let that sit aside for the moment. The next thing you're going to need is 4 eggs, and what you're going to have to do is separate them. Take 4 yolks, put them in a container or a little bowl, and just bring them together, beat them together, okay? What you're also going to do next is you're going to take that cooled 1 tablespoon of butter and you're going to put it right into your eggs. And then you're just going to mix the butter and the eggs and just beat it a little bit and then let that sit. Okay? Now, with the 4 egg whites, you're going to beat them till you have high peaks with them. You're going to put an 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and let them start to form really nice peaks. Then what I want you to do is to take a half a cup of granulated sugar, start adding it to your egg whites till they're really nice and well, I'll show you in just a moment. I went ahead and did that to save time. So this already has the 4 egg whites in it. It has the salt, and then also the half a cup of granulated sugar till it forms. You can see what it looks like, okay? All right, so let's take that out because we don't need that anymore. Okay, and if you can see how really pretty those egg whites look like, let me grab a spatula here. Okay, now the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to combine this egg mixture to the egg whites, okay? The only thing is we don't want to over mix them. We want to kind of keep the air in these. So I'm just going to try to gently fold it in. So, and however you like to fold your mixtures in, just till it's well combined. But again, we don't want to lose too much of the air. So then just fold that butter in, okay? All right, the next thing that you're going to do is let's go back to our pan and our cherries. You're going to use at least about 1.5 cups of the dried cherries. And what you're going to do is just sprinkle them all on the top of that brown sugar and that nice butter that you melted. Okay. And if you think that's a little too much, go down to 1 1/4 cups of the dried fruit, if you'd like. Okay, and we'll set that aside for the moment. The next thing that you're going to need is 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and then you're also going to be needing 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to put it together, and then in about 3 batches, I'm just going to stir that a little bit with the end of my spoon because it's handy. And I'm just going to sift 1/3 of it over the top of my egg whites here. Okay. And then again, just gently fold that flour in. Okay. Now it's going to tend to stick to the bottom a little bit, so you want to be mindful of that. Now once you fold that in, we're going to do this again, and I like to do it in actually 3. I find it is easier for me to do it that way. And sifting it. Okay, and then again the same thing, just keep folding that in, trying to keep as much air as you can, and the flour will have a tendency to want to sit on the bottom, but just fold it in. All right, now let's do the rest of the dry and sift that over. Get that all out. Okay. And now it's just a matter of folding that dry into this mixture. Shouldn't take you too long at all. This is a relatively easy cake to make. I think it's just the time it takes you to beat the egg whites. Okay, all right, so I feel it's pretty well mixed. And then of course, all we have to do now is to pour that mixture over the top. So we're gonna pour and try to get all of this out, and then just even it out as best as you can all across the top of that dried fruit. Now you can also try dried apricots for this if you prefer. Okay, I want to get this all out here and covering it as evenly as you can right to the edges. Now you're going to bake this cake at 350 degrees, and it's going to take you about 30 minutes. I like to start checking mine after about 22 minutes because, as you know, all our ovens set up so differently. But usually it does take all of the 30 for me. Now, once it comes out of the oven after that 30 minutes, you will want to have a plate, the dish that you're going to plate it on. And you're going to, after just a couple minutes after it comes out of the oven, of course, be cautious, have definitely have something to protect your hands. And you're going to turn the cake over on the plate upside down. It's best for you to release it after just a few minutes because you don't want everything to stick. And then you can serve it warm or you can serve it hot, okay? But once again, 350 in the oven, up to about 30 minutes should do it, and then plate it after a few minutes. Just put your plate on top of this, turn it upside down, and you'll have this cake. Okay, I want to rinse my hands quickly because I want to show you what the end product looks like. Now you can also glaze this upside down cake with a little bit of a sugar glaze. And you can use powdered sugar and milk or water, about a half a cup or so, depending how much glaze you want to put on. Now, what I did, because I wanted to, somebody wrote to me and said, when you're doing a particular cake or pie or whatever, can you show alternate types of fruit? Well, these are also cherries, but these are fresh cherries that I made on this one, okay? If you do use fresh cherries, you're going to need, I think a lot more. You're going to need anywhere from about 12 ounces, 12 to 14 ounces. Of course, you're going to have to pit your cherries and then make sure they're extremely well drained because you don't want all that liquid in them. But this particular one that I'm showing you is done with fresh cherries. And then I also do the dried cherry one, which I just showed you just a few moments ago. It bakes up just delicious. I particularly like eating this cake when it's still warm. I want to grab a knife here to cut into it to show you. But again, you might prefer, to use the dried fruits, but you're probably not going to be able to see it, but it's an extremely very light cake. It's not real dense or real heavy, and it has, I think, a lot to do with those nice beaten egg whites. It'll have a really pretty nice brown bottom to them. It'll have all this luscious fruit on the top. It's just really a great tasting little upside down cake made in a skillet. Whether you want to use dried fruit or fresh, it'll be up to you. And glazing on the top with a sugar glaze with powdered sugar is totally optional too. But it's really not pretty easy cake to make, and it really does come out so good. So I also want to tell you that the directions will not be below the video. So many people these days now are copying videos, taking them to other sites and what have you without permission. And it's just something that I need to do right now and not put them on. I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Please watch my videos solely on YouTube. I always say if you try the recipe and you like it, leave a comment, because I do. I like to hear from you. But again, if you're watching me not on YouTube, I'm not getting any of your messages and I can't answer them, and it's quite frustrating. So if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, boy, I'd really appreciate it. Give me a like would be fantastic, or ring the bell for Diane Lovetobake. Find my videos, watch my videos on YouTube. I can't thank you enough. I'll see you soon.